Back to Besa starts right now on Fox 13.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Back to Besa. I'm your host, Besa Gordon, and per usual, we have a lot to talk about today, so make sure you grab your snacks. This week on Back to Besa, we head to Renton, Washington to celebrate Boom Boona Coffee being in downtown Renton for 5 years. We head to Pioneer Square for the Se Habla Media launch party at Color Studio. We go to the Seattle Art Museum for the Sam's Body Plus Mind Poetry event. We relive what went down at New Queer's Eve. We get to know Seattle musician Oblate Reed for Youth Unfiltered. You get introduced to our love and relationships expert, Dabrina Jackson Gandy. We catch up with our friends from Traveling While Black, plus I give you events to know about happening around the city. But first, it's Hot Topics.
Okay, you guys, one of the big stories from last year was if Halle Bailey was pregnant. Is the Little Mermaid about to have a little mermaid? Well, turns out she really was pregnant and she really just wanted to have a private pregnancy. But here's the thing, this is what's bothering people. I think what bothers people the most is that there was so much gaslighting here, okay? You know, it's one thing for you to sit here and be like, oh, I just want to have a private pregnancy, and then you're barely ever seen. This girl was always online. She was constantly wearing big clothes. She was constantly hiding her stomach. And let's not forget, she is an absolute celebrity. When you're a celebrity, you really don't have that much privacy. It is what it is. Now, obviously, she had a healthy baby. She's very happy. Her and the father are very, very happy with their child. And you can see she enjoyed her pregnancy. She had a maternity shoot. She was dancing around with her sister. Baby girl lived her best life. But all I'm saying is, if you really want to have a private pregnancy, and if you're going to sit here and try to gaslight people when they try to guess that you're pregnant, maybe, just maybe, you should do your best to stay away from places where there's going to be photography. And when I say photography, I mean paparazzi. So earlier this week, I decided to go on Rick Ross's Instagram. Every once in a while, you know, he has something positive and inspirational for your girl. And while I was in there, I happened to see a video in his IG stories where he talks about how he's about to build one of those underground doomsday bunkers. Like what? Child, check out this video.
It's going down. Y'all know how I love real estate, and I usually like to build and go up. We going underground now. One time for all my doomsday preppers. Elon Musk, I see you. I saw your ground plans. I'm impressed, but guess what? My bunker gonna have a garage. My bunker gonna have wings. Huh? Yeah, we breaking ground. Huge excavations. You gotta have your fluids. I got a water maker, a machine that makes water out of H2O.
All I'm gonna say is this, and I've said this many, many times. These celebrities, these elites, they know something that we don't know. There is a reason why they're building a doomsday bunker. There's a reason why they're collecting all this food. It's not because of a simple earthquake that might happen. I'll tell you that darn tootin' much. I don't know what they know, but it's something serious to where all these people with money are going underground. I'm obviously not trying to scare anybody, but definitely stay prepared because they're getting prepared for something. And in a moment to make us all laugh, child, Fantasia was like, where are the lamb chops? Literally, after being served pizza in a bag at the Critics' Choice Awards. Check out this video.
Sister Oprah, usually we have a plate of very decorative homes. And a lot of liquor. Consider yourself lucky. This is like a buffet. Where are the lamb chops? Because
Okay, first of all, why the pizza in the bag? Like, the simple fact that you're handing me food in a bag and I'm in a gown is absolutely wild. Hit me up on IG at Besa Gordon. Let me know if you've ever been to one of these fancy events. Why is the food always so lackluster? Let me know if you're gonna try to build yourself an underground bunker. And also, are you mad at Halle Bailey for hiding the pregnancy?
I'm not sure if I've told you all this, but your girl has a whole binder of poems written from elementary school all the way up to my first couple years of college. Heck, I even have a book that I started in high school. One of these days, I'll be brave enough to share it with the world. But until then, let's talk about some poetry that recently went down at the Seattle Art Museum, aka Sam's. Sam's reached out to our friends over at A Space Inside to curate the first Sam's Body Plus Mind session of the year, which featured both local talents and global poetry icons such as renowned poet Rudy Francisco. Each carefully selected reading illuminated the beauty of vulnerability and the art of self-expression, creating a space for profound reflection and healing. Let's take a look at what happened.
Tonight was a beautiful event called Sam, Body, and Mind. A bunch of poets and storytellers from inside space came in, performed, and really showed out.
we
had the fantastic opportunity to curate one of their first poetry nights ever, actually, at the Seattle Art Museum and part of their entourage. So it was really an amazing opportunity for us to highlight a lot of the local poets that are here and a lot of the tools that we use for healing. Poetry is an art form, but it's also a way that people find healing. Sometimes there's a little bit of comedy, but a little bit of heartbreak or laughter or whatever. And to come here and be in a space to share these words with like the community and the larger community with the Seattle Art Museum was just like amazing.
It's not often that you see museums bring in spoken word artists, you know, like often where, not something that a lot of people have found an appreciation for or even know about. So the fact that the Seattle Art Museum, you know, opened up their spaces to us, like that was really huge.
It's the fact that we have this many people out here willing to support poetry in Seattle. I mean, for a majority of the time in the city, you looking for poets, you don't know where they're at.
I am so appreciative of the space that a Space Inside creates for poets of color, for us to really speak our truth. And a partnership that they had here with the Seattle Art Museum exposes the community here in Seattle to what our communities actually look like in their brilliance and their vibrancy. And it's when we all come together, sharing that truth together, we can truly create community that cares, that matters, and is moving towards healing, truth, and reconciliation for all peoples that live here in Seattle.
I submitted to the Space Inside, and I got the email on New Year's Eve, and like, minus my son being born and getting married, like I've never been that excited about something in my life, and just such a beautiful space, and to be here in the presence of Rudy and have the chance to learn from him was just wonderful.
To inside, this is a phenomenal. This is insane. They run that space such a way that you feel like you coming in, you taking your shoes off, you home, you feel me? I came into Inside about a year ago, and just the growth from there has been crazy. So to get to a point where we're curating something like this, I cherish them so much for it.
Tonight we got to come together and share words of inspiration, of hope, of looking at ourselves introspectively in the communities in which we live, work, and breathe. Tonight was a time for community.
You know what's crazy is I can jump on a stage and host in front of 10,000 people, no problem. You hand me a poem I wrote to read in front of 100 people and I clam up. Shout out to A Space Inside and the Seattle Art Museum for creating experiences like this for our poetry lovers. Now, in case you were wondering, Sam Body Plus Mind sessions are all about restoring and reconnecting with yourself through movement, performances, and art at the Olympic Sculpture Park. It goes down every other Saturday with different programs centered around mindfulness, healing, restorative practices, and for more information on their future program, head on over to seattleartmuseum.org/body and mind. So, New Queer's Eve, it's a new queer social house, and its creator and founder, Sade Simone, saw a gap in the market and decided to create a space that celebrates like-minded individuals. We recently attended their second event, New Queer's Eve, held on New Year's Eve at the beautiful Court in the Square. When I tell you, this was a New Year's Eve party for the books, I tell no lies. Check out how it all went down.
We're here at New Culture, New Queer's Eve. We're presenting it in Court in the Square, our fabulous, luxurious venue. Drinks are flowing, we have duckies, we have snacks, a bunch of art, and we have a really freaky show. We're doing this because we really just wanted to create a more luxurious space for our BIPOC queer community. People do want nice things, and sometimes it's not always possible to get that, so we're really bridging the gap between luxury and accessibility within our community.
Oh man, performer lineup is crazy tonight. So we got me, of course, to Queets. And I'm really excited to be able to bring my performer side, because you guys always see me in the art bag doing murals and all those sorts of things. We have Tracy Wong, who is an amazing whacker dancer here in Seattle. We got Pussy Willow, King Leo Maine. We got Lavender. I'm really, really excited.
comes to booking the performers, I do think about making sure that when each queer is in the space, they can see themselves on stage. I really see New Culture as the place where every person who's a part of these different smaller communities within the BIPOC queer community can come together and celebrate all at once. And of course, in a nice style.
What I want people to take away from tonight is just love yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this type of performance, this type of community, this type of event creates opportunity for us to really just let go of all the sort of things that life bogs us down with. You know, we're bringing in a brand new year. That's a brand new opportunity for blessings and newness and for clearing the slate, you know, coming in with a fresh start. And I think everybody is in that same sort of energy mindset, and we're gonna bounce off of each other and enjoy each other's company.
Listen, we are a space of joy, we are a space of liberation, we are a space of growth. And if you're on that vibe, come through and slide through, because we're your fam.
The queer community here in Seattle can never have enough space. We're a small but mighty group. There's not a lot of pressure here. You know, everybody's here to have a good time and, you know, just bringing in the new year in the absolute right way.
We will be doing 6 events for New Culture. They're gonna be at Court in the Square. We're gonna do a couple free events in between that. My goal is to do a New Culture Festival. I don't know if it's in 2024, but it is going to happen.
Look out for all things New Culture. Look out for all things Simone Penn Productions. And look out for Taqueets, because she's out here.
Let's just say we had a time that night, okay? New Culture has more events coming up in 2024, so be sure to keep up with them on Instagram for their next event at instagram.com/new_culture. And that's culture with a Q. We're off to our first commercial break, but when we come back, we're headed to Boom Boona Coffee in Renton for their 5-year anniversary party, plus Pioneer Square for the Se Habla Media launch. You're watching Back to Besa. Welcome back to Besa. Boom Boona Coffee was first opened in Renton, Washington in 2019 by Efron Fasaha. Since then, he has opened up a coffee shop in Seattle and the University Bookstore. On Sunday, January 14th, Fasaha celebrated 5 years of being in the Renton location, along with the community, plus 5 local brewing companies that have used his coffee and brews. Let's see how the celebration went down.
Hey guys, Besa Gordon here. Today's a big day as we are back in Renton at Boom Boona Coffee, and right now I got the owner himself, Efron Fasaha, with us, and we are celebrating 5 years.
Yeah,
5 years.
incredible. It's really, I'm living out my wildest dreams. And true, it's with coffee, but it's the fact that I'm getting to do it with, you know, how I'm sourcing and, you know, how we're sourcing, how we're, you know, using our spaces. It's just, it feels right. So I'm happy to be doing it.
The community is out for you tonight.
Yeah.
This is a very, very unique type of way to celebrate 5 years of coffee.
Yeah.
For anyone that's not here, maybe even listening on the radio,
Yeah.
explain what's going on today.
Well, really, it's a moment for me to just thank everyone. You know, we started off just by simply saying, you know what, we need to acknowledge 5 years. We need to thank everybody that's been here riding with us the last 5. But then I was thinking about kind of like smaller details. We're thinking about 5 different breweries in the Seattle neighborhood that have supported us. So we've got Holy Mountain, Fast Fashion, Four Generals, Metier, Hellbent. You know, we've got these great breweries that have chosen to use our coffee in their beer, and we want to highlight them. So let's do that. But at the same time, it's also to like say thank you, Besa. We appreciate, you know, you coming through, having your mocha, being the first customer at UW, you know?
Sure
it's
was.
things like that where I get to tell you thank you for the things that you've done and how much it's impacted us.
We love what you're doing. You know, my whole job is to highlight amazing people like yourselves, and I wouldn't be doing it if I wasn't here today.
I'm grateful to have you.
What's coming next in 5 years? I know you're already planning something.
You know, we're grateful to be at 5 years, but yeah, you know, what we have in store is, you know, hopefully to keep building on the things that we've done. We've got a larger roaster that we purchased. It's about 4 times the size of our current roaster. We want to put that thing to work, so we're excited to do exactly that. Thank you to our community that has supported us. I'd say thank you to all the other, you know, black businesses that are getting supported, brown businesses that are getting supported out there. It's really tough. You get through the pandemic, but a small business as well. Thank you for going out and supporting small. It's really, it's what we need, and we're grateful to have it.
All right, you guys, 5-year Boom Boona Coffee Renton location celebration. Dude, as you can see, the entire community has come out to celebrate this amazing black business. And speaking of celebrating, let's talk about supporting. Your girl is out here freezing, so I'm about to go back inside, support them by getting some amazing coffee. But dude, make sure you do the same when you're out here in the Renton area. In the meantime, between time, until I talk to you guys again, I have some coffee to drink. My friend, cold was not the word. The fact that it was that cold outside and it didn't snow is mind-blowing to me. But as you saw, a little cold weather didn't stop any of us from coming out and celebrating Boom Boona Renton turning 5 years old. Next time you're in downtown Renton, be sure to stop by Boom Boona Coffee. They're open 7 days a week. Back in Seattle and over at Color Studio in Pioneer Square, Jamie Mendez and his wife Diana Oliveros launched Se Habla Media and its newscast, Jamie Mendez News. What I think is so amazing about the launch of Se Habla Media is that it came after Mendez, who was a longtime news anchor for Univision affiliate KUNS in Seattle, was shut down by Sinclair Broadcasting at the end of the year. Mendez anchored the only Spanish language newscast in the area, and the Hispanic community actually really relied on his news and information. And with that, Se Habla Media was born. Our producer, Cesar Canizales, was there at the party to let us know what went down at the lunch.
It was the end of an exciting week that started on January 1st, a week that was filled with long days for Jaime Mendez and his wife Diana Oliveros as they launched Se Habla Media and its newscast, Jaime Mendez News, with Mendez delivering his news program live in front of an audience on a Friday, capping the end of a busy week for them. The couple hosted a lunch party to honor the achievement at Color Studio, a workspace for creators. Attendees included friends, allies, and a couple of diplomats. Guests ate Latin food supplied by local restaurants, danced, and sipped margaritas and other beverages to celebrate the birth of a new company that was specifically made to serve the Latino community. Mendez was the longtime news anchor for Univision affiliate KUNS in Seattle, which was shut down by Sinclair Broadcasting at the end of the year. Mendez anchored the only Spanish-language newscast in the area, and the Hispanic community relied on him for news and information. Se Habla Media includes a podcast hosted by the couple.
This is all I've done with the same community all in my life here, so it was just a logical thing. It's just to do something that had to do with news, with information, and with community service, which is what I love.
Oliveros had just left her job at the Mexican consulate in Seattle when she and Mendez found out 3 months ago that KUNS would be shut down. So she adapted her experience working with the Mexican community to continue doing the same as co-founder of Se Habla Media.
But I think what helps me here is what I was actually doing at the Mexican consulate, which was the community outreach with Mexican people all throughout Washington. So I was able to get in touch with a lot of organizations, and not just that, but also learning what the needs are, where our people are living, what they need, what they're interested in.
The Mexican consul said he's happy that Mendez and Oliveros stepped up to serve the Latino community.
What this sudden scarcity in local news means is a lot of people are not aware of what's going on in their local elections. They're not aware of what's happening in their state, and they're not aware about the things that they have to know to be a part of a community and to be a part of democracy.
With over 1 million Latinos in Washington, Mendez stressed the importance of serving the community, which includes recent immigrants who need some support and information.
When we come to this country as immigrants, we are automatically, without land our feet in this country, we are in a disadvantage. We don't speak the language. Some people don't have the proper documentation to get a job. We don't know the system. So, the least that we can do here is to provide with some information, some relevant information, so people at least know what's going on.
When Univision is off the air, a lot of people lost access to knowing what's happening in their surroundings. And this is something that we want to contribute. It's very important that you are able to know what's happening around you, to know what things are happening that are impacting your life.
Guests who attended the launch party said they were thrilled that Mendes and Oliveros launched Se Habla Media to serve the community.
I knew Jaime Mendes through the Latin community. I am from Argentina, so I'm part of the Latin community too. And I'm so proud of meeting people that encourage this type of projects, because I think it's really important to have access to information.
Mendes said the reception from the community couldn't have been more welcoming and encouraging. Many of them have sent messages of support, which the couple appreciates.
It makes us feel very humble, and it also makes us grasp more the reality that we are important. We as a news source and information, people who care for the community and advocates for this community, that we're very important to them.
Mendes also hopes to inspire others, especially young people, to launch similar services.
We are right now the only source of information like hardcore news style in this area, and we shouldn't be. There should be more like that. So one of the things that we hope is that we can inspire other people, hopefully young people, to come and take this position, and we'd be more than happy to mentor them.
Jaime and Diana are very excited about Se Habla Media. Their newscast is already getting quite a few viewers online, and they hope it's going to grow even more.
I love when something seems as if it was taken from you, just for you to step out on faith and blaze a new path. Thank you so much, Cesar, for covering this story, and for even more on Se Habla Media, visit sehablamedia.com. We're off to another commercial break, but when we come back, it's time for Youth Unfiltered, and this week we're catching up with Seattle musician Oblé Reed. Welcome back to Besa. Quick story. The first time I went to Terrain Art Festival in Spokane back in 2022, I met an artist manager by the name of Riker. Riker, being a manager from the PNW, knew I was on the radio back in Seattle, and she comes to me and says, I need you to check out my artist. He's up next. Now, although I hadn't heard her artist, I'm not gonna hold you. For people in radio, that is an absolute trigger word. However, in this particular case, Riker was not exaggerating, okay? Oblé Reed is definitely up next. And in the last 2 years that he's been out, he's caught the eyes of Seattle Times, Apple Music, Seattle Refined, and so much more. This week for Back to Besa, we're catching up with Oblé Reed. We're talking about his latest project, how he got into music, and so much more. Let's check it out.
So today's sit down is with a Seattle artist that goes by the name of Oblé Reed. I recently found out about him a couple years ago when I was in Spokane, and since then he has blown up, and I'm so happy to literally welcome you to iHeartRadio Seattle. How you doing?
I am excited to be here. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. I remember the first time we met, it was in Spokane, and Riker ran up on me and was like, you gotta know about my artist.
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
how she does it.
And so you ended up performing and you killed it. And since then, you've done nothing but grow. You've grown your audience, you've grown your music, and I think you've also just kind of grown as a person.
Yeah.
Let's kind of talk about some of the things that really got Oblé into music as a kid.
Yeah, it's crazy because growing up, I didn't listen to hip hop music at all. My mom had me listening to contemporary Christian music and smooth jazz. That was it. And my first experience with hip hop was my dad brought home a CD from an artist named Lecrae.
I love Lecrae.
Come on now. And then from that moment, I was like, oh, yep, this is it. I was like, I don't need anything else. I'm just going to listen to this. And I started writing. I actually found recently my first thing that I ever wrote. You know those big line pieces of paper that you practice handwriting on? Yeah. So it was terrible because I was 10.
So, okay, do you think that because of the music that you started listening to back then, is that one of the reasons why you don't cuss in your music now? Or is that just kind of your natural vibe?
Yeah, I think growing up listening to that, none of my role models and the people I was looking up to in music were doing it. And I was also in a really religious household. And so naturally, as I perfected my craft, it wasn't a part of that. And so now, even though I don't know, I don't necessarily, that's not all I listen to, and I have all of these other influences, my natural instincts is just not to. So yeah, I mean, I think in the age of the internet, right, it's easier to find new artists, and also music is way more accessible now. And so people are finding their own path in music and then putting it out to the world, and so it's easier for us to find. But I think there's just always been roots in storytelling here in Seattle, and I admit I wasn't always in the music scene or like wasn't super involved in like my come up, but as I've been able to like experience more, go to more events, meet new people, like I can see the intentionality behind everybody's art, and now I see more of the intentionality on the business side and the branding side of everything. And now like Seattle and the PNW has eyes on it now. And, you know, I think there's more and more artists every day that are ready for those eyes and ready to seize those opportunities. And 2024 is about to be a year of abundance for this region. So.
What do you think has gotten you the most ready for these moments? Because your career is actually taking off pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of patience and also a lot of education on my own part. I had all of the music done for my debut project that I dropped last year, like 2 years ago.
Wow.
Like it was all done. And I used to work as an audio engineer at a studio, and like that was my goal. COVID happened, all the studios closed, and I said, okay, well, I want to keep making music. So I built a studio in a tree house that I made with my dad when I was 10, converted it.
That.
Yeah, gutted it all out, you know, put insulation, electricity, Wi-Fi, taught myself how to audio engineer, and my goal for that year was to work in a studio, and then made that happen, made connections. My goal was to build my team, met Riker, you know, started working with Nash more, met the producers, all of that, and then my goal for the year after that was just to get ready for the debut.
What is the biggest lesson that you learned from your recent tour?
Oh, from my recent tour. The biggest lesson is that when you give 100% on that stage, people respond to that whether they know you or not. And it was crazy to see people who didn't know who I was or why I was even there come up to me afterwards and be like, that was, you know, and felt impacted by what I was doing. And, you know, we have a mantra in our team, Tour 2000. And I think tour as an opener definitely, you know, puts that to the test. Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's going to a concert for elevator music, let's
They're
be
not,
honest.
or for one song.
And then last for my 6 randoms, if you could talk to Oblé in 10 years on this very day, 10 years from now, what do you think you would be saying to yourself?
Dang, talking to my future self? Wow. I would probably ask, I don't know, I'd probably ask myself how I was feeling, you know, like all realness. Like, yeah, I feel how I feel right now, and like I'm always ready to go, and like, but like in 10 years, like, did I really take care of myself? Like, did you actually do the things that you said you were going to do? Did you hold to your word? And, you know, are you still, you know, have the same goals and same, you know, are you living authentically as you were then?
Let me tell you, I have a pretty nice gift when it comes to knowing who is going to be up next and even what singles will do well. Now, of course, I can't literally see the future, but the way crowds react to Oblé, even if they don't know his music, the way his supporters feel so connected to him, and the fact that he is truly just being himself actually makes good music. Plus, he's willing to work to get where he wants to be. I truly can't wait to see what you do, Oblé. And everyone, please grab his project, Linden Ave, on all streaming platforms, and go check him out as a show at Barboza on February 3rd. All right, we're off to another commercial break, but when we come back, we're introducing you to our love and relationships expert, Dabrina Jackson-Gandy. Welcome back to Besa. A loving relationship is something that a lot of us want, but have a hard time holding on to. Or maybe we're in one, but it's at a point where you're not sure if it's going to even make it past Valentine's Day. Well, this next interview will introduce you to our official Back to Besa love and relationships coach, Mrs. Dabrina Jackson-Gandy, a nationally published best-selling author who wrote Sacred Pampering Principles, All the Joy You Can Stand, and The Love Lies. During our talk, we get to know know why Debrina decided to become a love and relationships coach, her 3 love lies, how to write a list to find your perfect mate, and more. Please help me welcome Debrina Jackson Gandy to the show.
Hello, hello, hello. Good to be here.
I'm happy that you could make it, man.
Yes,
this is gonna be
yes.
great. You guys, look, we have Debrina here, or should I say Mrs. Debrina here, because she's actually going to be joining us on the show as our love relationships coach. But before we just have you jump into all the things, I wanted you to get to know her just a little bit more, and also how she got into love and relationship coaching, because I feel like that's taking on a lot of energy.
It is.
Now, I've known about you for years because when I was in like high school, my aunt told me about your book, All the Joy You Can Stand, and I still have it. I should have brought it with me so that way she could sign it, but we have time for that. So, you know, for me, I knew you as like a motivational speaker, you know, a life changer, if you will. How did you go from that into love relationship coaching?
I know, I said the same thing. But you know, what happened is that I've been married 31 years now, but at year 10, my marriage started to descend and become almost a divorce statistic. Almost crash and burn and ended, almost. And it was during that 4-year period of trying to save our marriage and doing all the things that people said, do this, try this, go speak to this person, see this counselor, see this pastor. We did that for 4 years, and even at the end of all that, we were going to throw in the towel. And it was at that lowest point where I started to receive some divine downloads, is what I call it, and an invitation from the Most High to try it a different way. And what I learned from my own process of growing up, maturing, the healing work I did, the insights I got during that time, is what I then turned around several years later and started to offer out to other people.
So say there's some single women out there right now and they're watching and
yes.
you know, they're like, man, I want to find a man, I want to find a man. What would you say their first step would be?
Well, first of all, they have to understand that what you want to work on is your magnetism, because we are to attract a man, not find a man. Finding is the man's assignment, not ours. So we want to be in the right lane. You're not in the find lane, because that'll have you on the hunt, which a lot of us are. Hunt energy. You're out of order. You want to understand that, especially as a woman, you have magnetic energy, and you want to be sure that your magnetism is strong, and you want to be sure you have done your healing work, because if not, it will infect the signal that you emanate, and you will attract based on that signal, not what you think, but who you're being. So, so that would be the first thing. I have been at, you know, I like to do big birthday parties and big birthday gatherings, and I have watched how oftentimes, this is tendency, not per each person, but tendencies, how the single women don't even know how to strike up conversation very well. And you know, and when I have my live Love Academy weekends, preparation for partnership, I will give women an assignment. And I will always choose a fabulous hotel. We usually go to Miami, so there's no shortage of men, beautiful men everywhere. And I might say to a single woman, so go over there to the gentleman wearing the da-da-da shirt and just strike up conversation. I didn't say have a child. I just said strike up a conversation. So we have to start with the basics like that.
Yeah.
Take a look at them, pay close attention. What is something you could make a comment on that would lead to innocent, simple, no motive conversation except to converse, and then come back over here. And you would be amazed at how they freeze up. What do I say? So we want these wonderful, juicy love relationships. We want to be in marriages that are juicy and wonderful. And then the very fundamental, basic skills aren't even there.
Yeah.
You know, and even the disposition of just like having your open sign on. And I have women, I have a practice, like go to Lowe's, go to Home Depot at 8 in the morning. It's all men there getting all their supplies for their projects and jobs if they're in construction. That means they're all employed. They got their work boots on, they're men's men. And practice having some eye contact and smiling. Work the rusty muscle. They're like, what?
Not a rusty muscle.
Work the rusty muscle. So, because it's rusty, and I've seen in many different scenarios and in many different cities, so it isn't just a Seattle thing.
Dude, this is gonna be so good. I cannot wait to see what nuggets you're able to catch each month from Debrina. Next month will be all about the State of the Union. That is your relationship union. And be sure to catch up with Debrina Jackson Gandy at milliondollarmentor.net. We're off to another commercial break, but when we come back, we're tapping in with Anthony and Marley Love from Traveling While Black for their recommendation of things to do to live your best life. You're watching Back to Besa. Welcome back to Besa. It's the third Saturday of the month, so that means Anthony and Marley Love of Traveling While Black are back with the top things you can do to live your best life. But this time, she's talking to people that are thinking about moving to the Seattle area and the best places to stay. Let's see what tips they have for us this month.
Hey Besa, we are back with some more TWB recommendations.
At the beginning of every year on our YouTube channel, we like to do what we call our Perspective of a Mover series, where we visit locations from the perspective of a person considering a move to Seattle or any Western Washington city.
In celebration for 2024 series debuting on January 21st, we wanted to share with you 4 past recommendations for a potential mover. First up, North Beacon Hill. In 2022, we covered this neighborhood located in the southeast part of the city. Known for our large Black and Asian community and considered to be among the most racially diverse neighborhoods in Seattle, Beacon Hill is subdivided by North Beacon Hill and South Beacon Hill. For this episode, we focused on North Beacon Hill, which offers a lot of residential homes located off the main road. And on the main road, there's easy access to restaurants, banks, and shops that make up the main part of the neighborhood. You can see our overall experience and learn more about North Beacon Hill on our YouTube episode 81.
Next up, Belltown. Also in 2022, we covered yet another Seattle neighborhood. Tucked between 2 Seattle iconic landmarks, Pike Place Market and the Space Needle, resides the Belltown neighborhood, a bustling area filled with high-rise condos, shops, bars, clubs, and restaurants. Other than the tons of options for food, drink, and fun, the Belltown neighborhood is also known for its trendy, artistic feel, all of which we got to experience firsthand, and you can see a breakdown of Belltown on our YouTube episode number 82.
Our next recommendation is a neighborhood of Columbia City. In 2023, we dropped into Columbia City, a neighborhood known for being one of the most diverse neighborhoods in Seattle. Other than the diversity, the neighborhood has a lot of history, and in fact, it was added to our country's National Register of Historic Places. To learn more about Columbia City, see our experience on our YouTube episode 125.
For our final recommendation, we are taking it out of the city and recommending Renton, because we know not everyone relocating to Western Washington may be looking to move to Seattle. In 2023, we took a visit to the city 11 miles southeast of Seattle. Renton has a lot to offer, which should be no surprise, being that it is the 8th biggest city within the state overall. You can see a full breakdown on our YouTube episode 126. Obviously, all of these locations and activities within have been TWB approved.
You can see a full overview of our experience at each on our YouTube channel at Traveling While Black and on our TikTok page at TWB Seattle. And be sure to check out the premiere of our 2024 Perspective of a Mover series on January 21st.
Until next time, beautiful people, stay up, stay true, and do you.
Thank you so much, Anthony and Marley Love, for always giving us the best tips. Dude, hit me up on IG at Besa Gordon. Let me know some of you all's favorite places to live if you were to tell someone that is moving to the Seattle area. And of course, for more things that has to do with Anthony and Marley Love, and for more of their shows even so, head on over to their website at travelingwhileblackseattle.com. It's time for us to jump into another commercial break, but when we come back, we're talking about events happening around the city you need to know about. Welcome back to Besa. It's time for events to know about, where I tell you about the dope events happening around the city you don't want to miss. First up.
Okay, so Sunday, January 21st is New Year, New Vibes, curated by my buddies over at Curated Vibes, and this is happening at Voo Lounge. By the way, it's a day party, so don't worry, you won't have to be out too late. Thursday, January 25th, October London is at the Showbox. Also, that same day is Founders Live Seattle at the Collective. This is pretty cool. Basically, you're gonna have 5 founders. Each one will have 90 seconds to pitch their business. There'll be 4 minutes of Q&A from the audience, and then the audience picks the winner. So like, you're basically helping someone amp up their business. I love it. Now, on Sunday, January 28th, T.I. is going to be performing at the Nate Jackson Super Funny Comedy Club. Thursday, February 1st is the 5th annual Black Owner Business Excellence Symposium at Watson Signature Event Center over in Lakewood. Saturday, February 3rd is the Blackity Black Brunch and Paint. Child, this is going down by Kay the Paint Lady over at K Paint Joint in Tacoma. Now, Sunday, February 4th is the Airbrush Collage Workshop happening over at Wanawari. February 9th, SOS Pro Wrestling Cruel Intentions is going down at Edison Square in Tacoma. Sunday, February 11th is the Sunday Drag Sip Brunch Anniversary Show at Poquitos, Tacoma. Sunday, February 11th is also Paint and Sip at Ocean 5 in Gig Harbor. And Saturday, February 17th, you got the Black Business Brunch, an empowering networking event at Tacoma Armory.
All right, everybody, that's it for this week's events to know about. If you have an event that I should shout out next week, send an email with the event details to backtobesa@wherewecconverge.com. We're off to our last commercial break, but when we come back, it's time for Affirmation of the Week. Welcome back to Besa. I'm your host, Besa Gordon, and each week we like to end the show with an affirmation. This week's affirmation is, it is safe for me to trust the process and timing of my life. Let's be honest. 2024 has been very interesting to say the least. And the way that it's feeling, if there was ever a year for you to grind it out and trust the process, this is the one. Don't allow distractions to slow you down, and definitely don't let self-doubt slow you down. Talking ourselves out of our own blessings is not what we're doing in 2024. Trust the process and watch what you say to yourself, even to yourself. Be nice to yourself, friend. I'm pretty sure you're trying hard. Now that's it for this week's episode of Back to Besa. I hope you enjoyed this week's show. Of course, if you have anything you want me to know about, shoot me an email at backtobesa@wherewecconverge.com. And dude, that can be a business that you want me to highlight, an upcoming event, or even someone within our community I should know about. Whatever it is, whoever it is, dude, I want to hear from you. Don't forget though, catch me right here in Seattle on Hits 106.1 weekdays, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. and in Portland, Saturdays, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Jammin' 107.5. Until next week, thank you for your support of Back to Besa. And as usual, I want you to have an amazing rest of your day. And of course, keep that energy high.